Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios, once again with another One Piece chapter summary. This week's chapter is chapter 1006, The Honorable Hyogoro the Flower. So this chapter's art has a big color spread of Kaido and the Three Calamities and the Toby Roppo around him, including Drake still. So, I guess just to keep out the Flying Six, just to keep up that title, Oda's just going to draw Drake with him for now, but it's pretty obvious he's not on their side anymore. We even actually see that in this chapter. So without further ado, let's go into the chapter itself. The chapter is a kind of away from the Straw Hats. It cuts to what's everybody else up to. So it starts off with Shinobu and Yamato as they are currently charging through enemies. As much as they tried to hide Momonosuke, I mentioned this last chapter, but it turns out that didn't work very well. The enemy spots him pretty easily. I actually noticed that in the panel with Yamato running, we see a different panel later with a more detailed explanation, because Momo's on Yamato's back, hugging her from behind. But you can actually see when Yamato is running, you can see under their clothes, Momonosuke is popping out a little bit. So, it wasn't super obvious to hide him, but, they did their best. From there, we cut to Sanji briefly, deciding between whether or not to head upstairs to help Kinemon or head downstairs to help Momonosuke, because he beat up some of Kaido's men and asked them, where the location of the sealed room is. However, Sanji says, do I go this way or that way? And decides to go this way. We don't know which way this way is, so unfortunately, through the power of vagueness, we don't know where Sanji's going to show up next. After that, we actually cut back to Carrot's fight, which unfortunately Carrot and Wanda have lost. We even see Perospero mocking them because they literally lost due to bad weather condition. Because a cloud showed up and blocked out the moon. Imagine losing a fight just because it was partly cloudy. I feel pretty bad for Carrot in this chapter because we had all this build up to her and Wanda and their Sulong forms, and they did that big cross attack on Perospero, and then we just cut back to them and they lost. We don't even get to see the fight that happened, and that's kind of a bummer. Perospero just sort of walks away like nothing happened. So either what happened was Perospero, took that X attack at the beginning and then the clouds immediately happened, or it was in the climax of their fight that the moon showed up, or the moon got covered up, and Perospero finished them off. Either way, Perospero walks away with little to no scratches on him. I don't know if that's a testament to how strong Perospero is, or how weak Wanda and Carrot are without their Sulong forms. Because we know minks are strong, but we don't... Jack wiped out the entire mink people by himself until Duke Dogstrom and Cat Viper showed up. So, I don't know. I really don't know how strong Carrot is without her Sulong form, because we've never seen her fight super seriously yet. I'm hoping she gets up from this and maybe shows up because, well, I'll tell you in a minute, but somebody's going to need some extra help. Finally, we cut to the most important part of this chapter. Chopper is still working on the cure for the disease, and Apu and all of Kaido's forces are trying to get to him so that they can get the antibody. However, they're being blocked by both X-Drake and Hyogoro the Flower, who, through... The best way it was described is how the ice demon virus, makes people, super buff, turns them into the big scary demons. It stimulated what was left of Hyogoro's life force and brought him back to the prime of his youth. Unfortunately, this is kind of a double-edged sword, see, because the ice demon power-up brought him back to the prime of his youth, and we actually see him take out a ton of younger samurai. So he was a strong dude in his prime. The downside is, once the Ice Demon virus takes over, he will be so powerful that he will take out everyone, friend and foe alike. Because of this, he actually tells the other Yakuza, when I'm done, I expect you to kill me. I expect you to take me out before I hurt everyone. Things are not looking good this chapter. See, Chopper, is working as hard as he can on the cure, but unfortunately, everyone seems to be losing. People are running out of energy, and even though Marco is getting fantastic hits on King and Queen, like King even slashes off one of Marco's wings, and he just sort of like poofs it back because he's a phoenix. He's practically invincible. But even he has to, spend all his time fighting off the two of them. And to make matters worse, Perospero has just walked into the battlefield and is like, oh, Marco seems to be in trouble. I guess I'm going to do something about that. So, unfortunately, at the very end of the chapter, Hyogoro, having taken out a ton of enemies himself, he sits down and one of the other Yakuza members prepares to take his life. Now, my guess, because this is typical One Piece fashion, Hyogoro, sitting there ready to die, big dramatic flare, swords coming down. My guess is right before the sword hits him, Chopper's going to run out with the cure and just be like, poke, you're cured, you're good, run along now. And he'll start curing everyone. So it's always darkest before dawn, but it's showing us that even though the Straw Hats are starting to win their fights with, Robin showing up and hitting Black Maria, Frankie's getting a few hits in on Sasaki, you even see, Luffy and Zoro are doing pretty well against Kaido, if I'm being honest. It seems their allies are not doing so hot, and I don't exactly know how hopeful I am about this raid yet. But, I'm hopeful for next week, There's no chapter break next week, so we can look forward to that. And I'm pretty sure that I covered everything. This was actually a pretty short chapter in terms of overall content. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.